Hey, how's it going? It's Marlon here from the Box Center with a quick tutorial on how to compress video using the command line tool FFmpeg. So the first thing you want to do is you want to see if you got FFmpeg installed, and if not, install it. So if you type in which and then whatever tool you're looking for, FFmpeg, I should get back the path that has my FFmpeg. And if you're using one of our machines in the Box Center, well, it should already have it installed. If you're at home or it's not installed for some reason, then you have to install it. And the easiest way to do that by far is with Homebrew. All you have to do is type in brew install FFmpeg and you're good to go. If you don't have Homebrew installed, well, then you've got to install that first. And for that, just go ahead and do a Google search, or else we'll put up a quick video on how to install Homebrew. But in any case, once you have FFmpeg installed, you're going to invoke it by typing in FFmpeg. It's the first part of the command. And then you're going to type in a whole bunch of arguments that get the video you want to transcode it. And I think it's almost easier to see these if you don't look at them in the command line, but look at them in kind of a two-column view to help you understand what the flag is and what the value is. And so that's what I'm going to show you right now. So over here in my folding text, I have the structure of the command outlined for you. And so we're going to start out by invoking FFmpeg, and then we're going to use this I flag to determine the input video, and then I'll have a path to that video. I have a sample of footage from a C300 file. Then we need to have a flag for the video codec, and that's C:V. And we're going to use LIBX264, or the H.264 encoder. This is by far the most popular one. It's being superseded by H.265 right now, but there are still a few compatibility issues with H.265, and so we're still, in our shop anyways, using H.264 most of the time right now. Then you can assign an audio codec. We're going to use AAC. You can assign a bit rate for the audio. We're going to max out at 128K. And then this CRF is going to be for the video quality. It's going to take in a value between 1 and 51, and the lower the value, the higher quality you'll get, but the larger the file will be. And then the larger the value, the lower the quality, but the smaller the file. And so you're trying to look for the right balance between quality and size, which is very, very typical whenever you're compressing video or photos or any kind of media. What we find, what most people use, is something in the 20s is usually what you want to be doing when you're trying to compress something to use as proxy footage, or even just to send around. A file for friends to view on your phone, to throw up on YouTube. Something in the kind of 23 range is pretty darn good quality, and most folks will actually have a hard time distinguishing between something that's compressed at the value of 23 and the original footage if it's already compressed. And then 28 or so if you want something that's really pretty darn small, if you want to get it up on YouTube fast, if you want to email it to someone, you want to send someone a Dropbox link, something like that. So for right now, we're going to use 28 to get a really, really compressed file. And then to play these things back on Macs, you frequently, depending on what the source footage is, you need to add this additional flag. It's pixel format YUV 420p. And that is going to make it viewable through QuickTime on your Mac. If you don't insert that flag, every now and then you'll end up getting an error when you try to play back the file that you get out of this. So if you ever are following other tutorials online and hit some kind of hiccup when you try to play back the file on a Mac, it's probably this flag that you're missing. And then last but not least is going to be the name of the output file. And I'm just going to leave that as basically the same path. I'm just going to put -proxy at the end of the file name, just for right now. There are all sorts of reasons you wouldn't actually name your proxy files that way, because you usually want them to have exactly the same file name. But we're going to bracket that for this discussion, and I'm just going to put in that as the file name. Cool. So let's head on back here to terminal, and we'll type in that command. So we have FFmpeg -I, and then I will copy in my path, and then I'm going to assign, oops, that was almost syntax error. We're going to type in -C:\V for the video codec, and that's going to be LIBX264. I'm going to make the CRF 28. I'm going to put in an audio codec of AAC. I'm going to assign a bit rate for the audio of 128K, and then I'm going to put in an output file. Oh, actually, I almost forgot my pixel format, and even though I've got to look up this thing every single time, it's pix format is YUV 420p, correct? Yes. Now I'm going to put in my output file, and for that I'm just going to take my input file and I'm going to go ahead and put it in here as is, but I'll add the word proxy, and then I'm going to hit return, and it's going to start transcoding for us. That's from a test I did earlier. I'm going to overwrite that test. What I'm seeing down here is how many bits per second it's pushing through, and then the speed indicates kind of what ratio, according to the original length of the footage, it's going to take for this thing to get exported. I didn't say that right. Long story short, this is a 1 minute video. Since it was moving at 4x speed, it took about 15 seconds or so to export. So now it should be there, and if I pop back over here to my Finder, I should see this sample proxy there. This is footage of me from earlier this year, when for some reason we did a music video of Billie Eilish's Bad Guy over a green screen. I think I'm going to mute it so I spare you hearing us singing it, but I'll play these things back side by side. So the top is the proxy and the bottom is the original, and you'll see that they certainly viewed at this size, you cannot see the difference. And so if you're sharing this with someone to view, it's no problem. If you wanted to actually, color grade it or perform the green screen keying operation, you would not want to work with a compressed file. But if you're viewing it as an end product, it's totally fine, especially viewed at this kind of size. Cool. So if we go back and check out the sizes of those files, what we'll see is the original C300 sample is 381 megabytes, and then the proxy file is 5.7 megabytes. So that is a huge savings of space. Something of the order of, what is that, 70 times? It's 70 times is of that order of magnitude. Yeah, it's about 70 times smaller and still looks okay. And it's coming in at about 5 megabytes per minute. And so that means that if you were to put up an hour-long film, that would be of the order of 300 megs. A gigabyte would get you 3 hours of footage. So that's pretty darn compressed. And again, still very, very, very viewable. So that does it. That's essentially how you compress things with FFmpeg. The next step would be starting to think about how you might use the fact that you can do this in the command line to create some scripts that might automate the process of proxy compression for you. And I think we'll do that in another video. Hope to see you then. There we go.